So the US Equal Opportunity Commission, they say, has filed a lawsuit against one of the biggest crane providers in North America, accusing them of racial discrimination against 4 black employees. So TNT Crane Rigging, some of you may work for them, but some of you have dealt with them in the past, some of you brothers, is listed as a defendant in the lawsuit filed on August 24th. It alleged that the company fostered and subject employees identified as Edwin Creighton, Lorenzo Smith, and say Freddie Campbell and Jason Perdilla, say, to a hostile work environment. According to the lawsuit, the employees had to grapple with their field manager as well as a number of colleagues using racially offensive language, including the N-word, on the job. Also, hate symbols associated with white supremacy, like nooses and lightning bolt stickers, were openly displayed on the grounds with no disciplinary action. Say, in one incident in April 2018, it says Smith, who served as a crane operator, was ordered by the field manager to pick up an air conditioning unit at the Fort Worth facility while working in Frisco, Texas. It said he was met with racial slurs when he asked the manager for help. He says, N-word, if you're going to be about it, then you could turn that truck around and take your A home. It said the manager allegedly said, according to the lawsuit, he was that bold to say that. He was, boy, I tell you, let me tell you something. One thing about me, you can't disrespect me as a man on the job, because I have a thing about F this job. I'm a man at the end of the day. And when you are willing to have that attitude, they don't say a whole lot of things to you like that. They said now when Smith attempted to report him and stated in their lawsuit, he didn't receive an effective response. They say from his management, say Creighton also alleges that a similar experience while working as a crane operator of the company. Said the complaint also says he was called the N-word. They said by a field manager. It also alleged that Campbell, a truck driver, overheard his colleagues using the derogatory term. They said he later discovered that he was also being referred to as a white co-worker's black daddy. They say when he tried to put in a report, management, he not only was reportedly was told, said it was handled, however, it was not addressed. So Perdilla started working as a rigger, let's say, for the company in 2019. And so he claimed that in one interaction, a white colleague told him a lot of black people are, the F word, lazy. He said, they said another quote, you're different. You're not like the other N-words. You work though. That's what I like about you. Yes, and some of these dumb white supremacists think that's nice, what they actually said to you. Listen, do not ever think when they tell you, you're different, you're not like the rest of them, as a compliment. When they say you're not like the rest of them, they think the same thing about you. Because all it's going to take is for you to do something one time, and they're going to tell you you're no different than the rest of them and call you the N-word too. So some of you white folks who think that when you tell black people you're not like the rest of them, that's not a compliment. We're on to you. This is why I don't want to work for any of you, because I know you can't help yourself. Now, say the complaints mention Nathan Cook, and say a white employee who was targeted, and say after reporting the harassment and discrimination he witnessed in their work environment. According to the lawsuit, Cook alleged and say that he was physically assaulted and labeled a slur, and snitched by his peers. Yes, because any white person who do the right thing will be targeted. You better understand that. They will call you in-lover and all kind of other things. Listen, they physically assaulted the white guy for reporting it. And see, white people know they take a risk by standing up for black people. That's why black people, you need to have that white person's back. If they're going to stand up for you, you need to physically have their back. And anything else that they're going to suffer, because in the white community, white supremacy is the culture. And if they don't go along with the culture, they better shut up about it. And they can't, if they stand up against the culture, it's hell to pay. And that's why they assaulted that man. I say, following his complaints, his hours and pay were reduced. And say the alleged retaliation, along with other factors, it led him to resign from his position. TNT knowingly permitted a work environment filled with racist comments and imagery. It said no employee should have work in an environment openly hostile to their race. And say, and no other employee should suffer reprisal for objecting to discriminatory practice. That's the EEOC attorney, Brian Hawthorne, he said in a news release. Now, the lawsuit requests compensatory and punitive damages for the black employees. For Cook, EEOC seeks similar relief, including back pay, front pay, and potential reinstatement. I wouldn't want to be reinstated. to any place like that. Not at all. I'm like, look, give me my bag and that's all I need. I'm good. I never want to work for anybody like that. Hell no. But yes, those brothers did the right thing. File those EEOC lawsuits. Go and report any discrimination to the EEOC, any bigotry to the EEOC, any sexual harassment, anything like that, report that. Because that's the federal government and they will file lawsuits on your behalf and you'll win those lawsuits a lot better than sometimes doing it on your own.